Hey, welcome to episode 90 of the VET S.O.S podcast. VET S.O.S brought to you by the Who You Know Network, and we're proud members and glad to be supported by the Parade Deck community. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Kristen Christy. She is the co-creator of the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Very excited to sit down with her and talk about all the great things she's doing that directly impact our community. You will not believe her story. Stay tuned for this. This is one you definitely want to stay all the way through. Eric, hard to believe. Episode 90. Can you believe it?
Brother, this is so cool. I am so excited to be here. I am this is going to be one of those episodes I think that people are going to have to watch, rewatch, record, rewind, watch it again, chew on it, marinate on it. I'm excited to be here. Kristen, I am so thankful for you taking time out of what I know is a really busy schedule. And yeah, we're just grateful for you to be here. Shawn, let's get after it, buddy.
All right. So without further ado, America's resilience trainer, Kristen Christy, is a dynamic international speaker, writer, and coach. As the 2018 Air Force Spouse of the Year, a 2019 Top 30 Woman Military Influencer, and U.S. Army or U.S. Air Force Academy honorary commander. She is deeply embedded in all aspects of the military and veteran communities and is considered a civic leader in the Department of Defense. She is a co-creator of the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, the creator of the National Resilience Day, March 4th, which is coming right up, and the National Veterans Vocational Village Foundation. Her exceptional contribution to the field of resilience have been recognized with numerous awards, including being a 2020 Remarkable Woman finalist and a 2021 Force for Change National Award winner. Kristen, we are honored that you are here today. Love hearing part of your story. Can't wait to hear more. How are you doing today?
I am absolutely fantastic, and thank you so much for the opportunity. It's my honor to be here.
I love the coin rack right there in the background. You know, just puts us right at home. Yep, mine's actually to the side because I had my office the other way, and so now things are all out of whack. But it's all good.
Isn't it amazing when you receive these, because you know they aren't given out just like candy, right? It's not swag or anything like that. It means an awful lot. So this is my third coin rack, and every time I receive a coin from someone, it means an awful lot.
Yeah,
that is awesome. So let's jump right into it, and tell us a little bit about your story, your journey, and how you got to become America's resilience trainer.
Yeah.
What led you to that point?
Life is an emotional battlefield, and I have been marching on this battlefield my entire life. I grew up in the Air Force. My dad was intel. We moved every 2 years all over the world, had that opportunity to experience that. So when I went to college, I needed to find my community. And my community was at the ROTC building. Now, I could not sign up to be in ROTC because I had a massive stroke in high school. Mm-hmm. My identity in high school was being a world-class athlete. I had played tennis and golf. I had played Steffi Graf in tennis and beat her and won the golf championship for all the American high schools in Germany, and had a massive stroke in 1983. My junior year. And so all of the scholarships were taken away. It was my military community that helped me recover. It took me 1.5 years to learn to walk again after brain surgery at Wilford Hall in San Antonio. But when I went off to college, I needed to find that community. We all need a community. We want to feel protected, respected, and connected. And for me, that was at the ROTC building. So it was no surprise when I came home for Christmas break and I had met someone. We got engaged, and 2 years, or it was 2 weeks after he was commissioned, we got married. And I became a military spouse instead of a military child. And loved the staying in the military lifestyle. For me, it was part of who I was. And we moved to Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is not the optimal place that most people want to go, but I will tell you, it was the best assignment for us. That sense of community. I talk about community a lot, guys, right? We need that community. We are not made to do life alone, because life is an emotional battlefield, and we need our battle buddies on either side of us when we go through that. Dawn was a missileer in Grand Forks. We moved to Colorado Springs, where I am now. We love our community here, our military community and veteran community. And in 2004, as a squadron commander, he was asked to get volunteers for a deployment to Baghdad. And he didn't feel right asking for volunteers unless his name was at the top of the list. I thought, oh, this shows me he is such a good leader. A supervisor or manager says go, and a leader says let's go, and he said let's go. And he was the only one chosen. He was second in command at the Baghdad airport, and we hear it a lot, right? He came back different. With all the pre-deployment, the during deployment dinners, the post-deployment briefings, he came back different. He was more reserved than typical. His fingernails were bitten down to the nubs, which was not typical for him. And in 2008, he took his life 3 days before he pinned down Colonel. And all I could think of was our two boys. They were 12 and 14 at the time. And our community came alongside of us. Our military community, our church community, our neighborhood came alongside of us. And I failed as a spouse and as a mother. We live in a world of acronyms, and it was my counselor who helped me understand that FAIL stands for First Attempt in Learning. I did the best that I could with the tools that I had at the time. This was 16 years ago. We didn't talk about suicide. I just had no idea. So I have made it my life's passion to talk about the aftermath of a choice that he made. Our kids were 12 and 14 at the time, both attempted suicide, and my oldest son's been missing for over 8.5 years. And as a woman of faith, I just pray that he's on the side of heaven. And I know, one day I will find out that he's okay or where he is. But I want to bring hope to people. So in those 16 years, I have become a master resilience trainer for the Air Force, a master resilience trainer for the Army. I have taken courses. I have filled my toolbox with the lessons that I've learned, the lessons that other people have learned, to bring hope to people when they feel hopeless, or when they feel helpless, when someone they care about is in that dark place, especially in our military and veteran community. I want to be that emotional support human for people and walk alongside of them. So that's my story. I hope you can feel the passion.
I love how you wound that up with, well, that's my story. No big deal. Eric and I are both, resilience trainers, and I know for me, it was life-changing, really helped me deal with anger and things like that. And what you're doing and what you went through and how you're using that now is just absolutely phenomenal in my book. The resilience you show yourself, just to continue that and to help other people, is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that story, that resonates with me. But what a powerful testimony. And I think that's my favorite thing about you, Kristen, is that we all have a choice with our story. It either gets to be a tragedy or it gets to be a testimony, right? And that's a choice we have to make.
Yes, we take our test and make it a testimony, and take our mess and make it a message.
Yeah.
To tutor people through life's lessons.
Yeah. Watching you navigate that is nothing short of inspiring.
Thank you.
Nothing short of inspiring. So talk to us. I know that this story is one of the major catalysts in your founding of 988 Suicide Hotline or Crisis Lifeline. Tell us about it.
Yeah.
How to get started? Where is it now? How did we get here? Tell us all about it, please.
Yeah. So 2008 is when Don took his life, and I will say for 10 years, I really didn't talk about our story. I dealt with shame and guilt, like a lot of people do, and I had to come to the understanding that it wasn't guilt. I did the best that I could with the tools that I had. It wasn't guilt. It was regret. I think we all have regret, but we interchange those two words. And the shame had no space in my life. That was my choice to let shame in to the boardroom. So shame and guilt are on my itty bitty shitty committee between my ears, right? And I had to say enough. But it didn't take me 10 years to realize that I needed to use what I learned, that really tough lesson that I learned, to make an impact in my local community, but also trying to, why not think big? Go big. And so I thought, we have 911 for a medical emergency. And this was 2 years after Don died. So 2010 is when I thought, we have a 911 for a medical emergency. Why don't we have a 3-digit number for a mental health emergency or mental health crisis to make it a lot easier? We have 800-273-TALK. I've memorized it. I talk about it. It's one of the resources for the National Suicide Lifeline. But why couldn't we have a 3-digit number? So I started socializing the idea to everyone that I came across, and just talking about it, right? That's how it started. A thought and then talking about it. Action creates traction. So the more I talked about it, the more I was introduced to more people, the more I felt more confident about it and going, how can we get this through? So in 2019, FTC finally took it on and said, okay, let's get this done. And I had passed it on to a team. So Senator Cory Gardner from Colorado, my senator, was a co-sponsor and through the House and Senate. And finally, in October of 2020, it was signed as an executive order by President Trump. And July 16th of 2022, 988 went national. So October of 2021, we all got a text message from our cell carriers that said, even for a local number, you need to dial your area code. So before, we could just dial the 7 digits for a local number. Now we have to dial 10 digits. And in fact, my husband, I remarried. He's in the Air Force as well. He's Air Force Reserve. And he overheard, or he was listening to a podcast, and they were mentioning how upset they were that they now had to dial 10 digits. Well, he called in and let them know exactly why we have to do that. It was because 988 was going nationwide. And in the first year, phone calls went up 35%.
Wow.
To the crisis line. You can text to 988. Text messaging in the first year went up 1,000%. I know my youngest son, who's 28 now, would much rather text than call and talk to someone. So they have that ability now. And then as a veteran and military member, dial 1, and after you're connected and you reach someone who has the cultural understanding of being in that life as a veteran or military member. Dial 2 for Spanish speakers. If you think of the 800 number, which is still active, 800-273-TALK, and 988, if you think of them as two different website addresses that point to the same website.
It's a
It's
great way
the
to look at it.
same, it goes to the same organization that has professionally trained volunteers to help us get through that dark time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is that's one of those things that I have been, and I'm not the only one, right? That a lot of us have been personally touched by. And so knowing that there's a resource for our brothers and sisters to help them navigate the darkest time of their life is super impactful. So National Veterans Vocation Village Foundation, there's another thing we got to talk about, but I don't want to take away from the 988. If there's anything else that we need to know, I just want you to kind of soak up the airwaves and help us understand why it's so important that we navigate together.
Yeah, we need to do life together. And 988 is not only for those who are in crisis. It's for those of us who have a friend or a loved one who's in crisis. You know, we say when you need help, just reach out, just let us know. But that is the least likely time that we are going to ask for help. We are just wallowing in victimhood. We are wallowing in that darkness. We don't see the light. We don't see a way out. Sometimes we can't even get out of bed. And it takes people in our community to notice, to be noticers, to be that emotional support human, to come alongside and say, we have resources, let me help you. And it's okay to call 988 and say, I'm calling for a friend, and really mean it, that you're calling for a friend. And they will help you give the tools you need to help your friend, help your loved one. So it's for everyone in the United States to reach out and get the help that either you need or that someone that you care about needs. Unfortunately, only 19% of Americans know about 988. So it is now my purpose to get the word out. So thank you very much for helping me do that. It is available 24/7, and use it. They want people to call.
Yeah.
Try everything you can.
Yeah, you mentioned being a woman of faith. I read a book once that said one of the things we're supposed to do, as a matter of fact, it was the second greatest thing we were supposed to do, is love our neighbors ourselves, right? And so knowing that 999 has an opportunity for people to stand in the gap on behalf of a friend, a relative, a loved one, and help highlight an issue they're having, I think is massive. So thank you for setting that up.
Yep.
And it's such a great point, though, you brought up too, is we all the time. How many times have we said it? If you need something, reach out. That phrase comes out of veterans' mouths, especially senior NCOs, so many times. And that's just such a great point, that when in your true time of need, the last thing a lot of people are thinking about doing is reaching out. They are just so caught up in everything that's going on and stuck. So that's another just absolutely amazing feature for 988. And you made me laugh a little bit, though. I'm calling for a friend, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there for all of us. We talk in acronyms too in the veteran community, in the military community, and ACE is one that the Air Force and I believe the Army have adopted, the Ask, Care, Escort. I don't think we feel comfortable asking. It's looking someone in the eye, noticing first that they're having Eeyore days for an extended period of time instead of being that Tigger. But asking them point blank, are you thinking of suicide?
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we going to do if they say yes? Well, 988, you've got 988. Say, let's call 988 together. But there are so many other resources. That's what you all are about at VET S.O.S, right? It's about the resources. Find out the resources, use them, have them in your back pocket. The best time to find those resources is when you're in a good place. Be proactive and have those available, but ask. Research has indicated that if you ask someone if they're thinking of suicide, it does not put it in their head for the first time because they've thought about it. What it does show is that you care, you've noticed, and you're willing to get in that dark hole and maybe be that flicker of light that they need. There's a saying, it takes nothing away from a burning candle to light another candle. I think back to Christmas Eve services at church. The lights are down. We're singing Silent Night. We have one candle burning, but we all have a candle, and we pass that candle around, and pretty soon the whole sanctuary is lit up from one candle. So how can we be that one candle for a veteran or someone in our community that is going through a tough time, and help them understand that we have bad days, we have bad weeks, we have bad seasons in life, but life is not bad.
Yeah. I think sometimes that candle is just sharing your story, right? It's the ability to sit down with someone, ask the hard question, not be afraid of the answer. Because I think that's really what keeps a lot of us from asking that question is I'm terrified of the answer.
Yeah.
Right. Because now what do I do? And that has been a question for so long. If I ask the question and I get the answer I don't want, now what do I do? And the answer is simple. Pick up the phone, dial 3 numbers, and let somebody help you navigate that issue. And there's so much power to that. But I think when we sit down with people and when we're talking to a brother or sister and someone's in that dark space, being able to share our own story, being able to show that we can come alongside of them, because it's a matter of just knowing that somebody cares enough to stand there in the dark, with them.
Yes, and we don't have to say anything. So 16 years ago, I remember every single person who was in my living room after we were notified. I made one phone call to a friend, and our living room and kitchen were full of people. I'm an uber extrovert, guys. I know that I can walk into the room and suck the air right out of an introvert's lungs if I'm not careful. So people knew that I needed people surrounding us. I remember every single person who was in our living room and kitchen 16 years ago. I don't remember anything but 2 conversations I had. One, a friend from church came up and gave me a hug, and she said, "Kristen, he's in a better place." And in the rawness of that moment, it had been an hour since we had been notified, but the rawness of that moment, I snapped and I said, "Why isn't the better place at the kitchen table with his family?" Right. We know what she meant.
Right.
But in the rawness of that moment, then 20 minutes later, I had another friend come up, give me a hug, and she said, "Kristen, I have no words for you, but I'm here."
Yep.
Which would you rather hear when you're going through a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale? Right? That second one. It's okay not to have the words, or even just to say, "I don't have the words for you, but I'm going to sit in this dark place with you, and I'm going to be that flicker of light." We don't have to have gone through suicide or a tragedy similar to what our friends have gone through. Think about the pain scale.
Yeah.
We have all been through a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale, whether it's lasted a long time or hasn't lasted very long at all. We have that understanding, that empathy of what that pain scale looks like, what that 10 out of 10 on the pain scale looks like. And if we can bring hope, so another acronym for you all, HOPE stands for hold on, pain eases. That E doesn't stand for end. You
Right.
all know it. I'm sure you've been through a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale, and it ebbs and flows, but it eases.
Yeah.
But hope also stands for help one person every day. When you need to get outside of your own circumstances, help someone else. I would much rather clean your house than my house, right?
Deal. Deal.
But it helps our pain ease, and it
Yeah.
helps someone else's pain ease.
Yeah.
And it's finding that purpose.
Yep.
What is your purpose? When you're in a dark place, what is your purpose? Do you love dogs or animals? Go to your local vet and see if you can volunteer to walk dogs, during their lunch hour or something like it. It's volunteering or finding a job or just something to get outside, to find that sense of purpose and use your passion.
Yeah.
To do it.
That's good. Yeah. One thing that I've learned a couple times the hard way is that sometimes when you want to talk to someone who's in crisis, sometimes just saying this sucks. Just tell them what's honest. This sucks. This is horrible. I can't even imagine. Yeah, that's powerful. I hate to utter these next words, Kristen. It's going to break my heart to utter these next words, but we are quickly out of time. And so what I want to do is and I've had to say this now, you'll be the third time in a row. But I want to make sure that we get you on again. I think this is something that we need to continue to talk about. So, but before we go, I do want you to tell us just briefly about the National Veterans Vocational Village Foundation, please.
Yeah, in 2019, two friends of mine, two vets, we started the NV3 Foundation, and we just got back from a helicopter show. So we have the only helicopter that is fitted to teach paraplegics how to fly a helicopter. If you've ever flown a helicopter, you need your feet and your hands. So one of my co-founders is the first paraplegic helicopter pilot. He was a fighter jet pilot. His jet went down. He ejected and it severed his spine. So we are planning a world tour next year, and our tail number, guess what it is?
NV3?
988.
Oh my, that's even better.
Victory. Yes.
How did you not see that coming, Eric?
I don't know. I jacked that up. That's so much more gooder than what I just said.
So we are just really excited, but eventually we want to build a village in Colorado Springs for veterans, that sense of community, camaraderie, teach them vocations, and then be able to replicate those throughout the country and all. So we've got a lot of things going on. Our website is nv3foundation.org. Some really cool stuff to bring light and hope to veterans.
I love it.
Yeah. Wow.
I love it. Okay. So once again, Kristen, thank you so much for taking time out of what we know is not just a busy schedule, but an incredibly important schedule.
Thank you.
Big fan.
Thank you.
Big fan. So one last thing I want to ask, just because I want to make sure everyone has an opportunity and knows, I know we've got the ticker tape going down below, but Kristen, what's the best place for our audience to connect with you? Yeah.
KristenChristyCares.com is my website, and I will give you my Google number is 620-304-HOPE 4673.
I love it. Okay. Kristen, thank you again. I don't think I will be able to utter those words enough.
Thank you.
But thank you for being here. We love you. We're proud of you. We're so glad to be coming alongside of you. Please let us know how we can get involved and how we can be a teammate. So,
thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's it, everyone. So on behalf of the VET S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us, for sitting down, and for tuning in. Make sure you follow and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. And as always, please remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. See you guys.